The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, I'm Sabrina Brown. Thank you for joining us. The government's leading social agency marking the start of a special program designed to positively impact the lives of young people. Joan Davis-Roll reports.
These children and carry them back to the good old days when we played ring play and this the way you bellaby and sausage, and all those good old games.
Training our nation's youth in the way they should go is No Child's Play for Urban Renewal 2.0 on Grand Bahama. It is an initiative powered by the government's leading social agency and our youth. Youngsters from Lewis Yard and nearby communities turning out for the start of a special summer program geared towards bridging the gap with the younger generation. Deputy Director of Urban Renewal on Grand Bahama, Michelle Rankley, getting fully involved as the program moves to promote good, clean, wholesome activities.
We are moving around from center to center. Marco City has just completed, and now today we are in the Lewis Yard area under the leadership of Miss Coakley and Miss Grant, who is doing an excellent job down here. And you know, this area do have a lot of children, and rather than seeing them walking about, they decide to sit down and put together a camp, and they will be fed lunch here, so parents won't have to worry about lunch. All they do is drop them off, and they can be assured that their children are in a clean, safe, and comfortable environment, and of course having fun and learning something while they have fun.
The goal of the camp is to get youngsters away from the computer and, yes, those handheld devices, and get them exploring the great outdoors.
It's always good to be a part of the kids, especially when you're doing things that children enjoy. As you see earlier, we started out, of course, with the hopscotch, and then the hula hoops. We have the skipping rope. They're going to be doing jacks and balls and all those old games, and for them to know that these were the games that we played. These were the games that we know. And life is not just about picking up a phone, texting all day, or sitting before a TV watching television all day, or listening to music all day. But you can have good, clean fun while you're outside and with your peers. And like I said, fun that we played.
Rankley says the camp takes an holistic approach to child development, not leaving out the most important component, God.
We and our children really need the Lord, especially in these days and time. And at this center, they can get all of it. They're mentored, they're taught how to pray, their ethics classes, and all of it. Everything you can imagine. It happens right here. Their arts and craft down here, second to none.
Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
Education officials are now looking to the new academic year with just 2 weeks left before school opens. Tonight, the Deputy Director of Education on Grand Bahama is encouraging students to pull up their socks and be ready to work hard come September. Deputy Director of Education Sandra Edgecombe says she's looking forward to a productive school year as the new term approaches. But the veteran educator says she's concerned about the overall performance of public school students in national exams.
I know that the teachers are teaching. I know that administrators are speaking to it and addressing the problems every week at assemblies. Our students need to become more focused and to see their education as important. You know, even though Gabriella Morris is not a government school student, she did the same national exams that all of our students do, and she's won a merit scholarship.
Edgecombe says students must take their education seriously as the new government high school diploma system will be implemented in 2017.
We know that there are lots of things to be ironed out before we get to the point of that diploma, and we're going to work towards doing that. But will our students meet the challenge? Because it has to reflect in their punctuality, in their attendance, in their school involvement, in their academics. And if they don't do it, then sad will be the day they won't get a high school diploma.
While she's calling on students to stay focused, Edgecombe says parental involvement is also vital.
The urgency of that needs to go out to parents and to students. The time for fooling around is over. The government cannot continue to put millions and millions of dollars into repairing schools every year, and all we're doing is housing them they must come out of those schools with something, and that something is their certificates and their national exams and their high school diplomas.
Sabrina. While education officials are preparing for the new academic year, a local government councilor is concerned about the level of absenteeism in the public school system. Frazette Gibson, who is also an educator, says she would like to see truancy officers placed within the system, and she says she has created a module that outlines how such a program can work.
I believe it's needed. I believe we have strayed away from our school education in terms of we have a lot of absenteeism with our young people. And so one of my mandates was to see that truant officers are implemented. And so I'm going to speak with them, and I will give you an update once I have one from them.
Gibson is appealing to officials to take a serious look at this issue. She believes if this matter is addressed, we will see improvements in the overall grade average.
Where there's a lot of absenteeism that reflects the grade system in terms of national GPAs, national grade level assessments, in terms of the BGCSE and BJCs. Students cannot do well when they're absent from school for long lengths of time. And then educators and teachers, they are held responsible when the children are not even attending classes. And so that's something we have to look at.
The government of the Bahamas, through the Tariff Amendment Bill 2014, providing an extension of the duty-free exemptions to East and West Grand Bahama. Tonight, the president of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce talks about what this could mean for the island. Shashina Roll reports. We apologize, we don't have that report right now. In other news, a group of foreigners hauled before the court yesterday to face serious charges. The 4 American citizens were arraigned in the magistrate's court for breach of the Fisheries Act. 47-year-old George Fitzgerald, 20-year-old Tyler Fitzgerald, 39-year-old Cammie Fitzgerald, and 39-year-old Jennifer Taylor appeared before Deputy Chief Magistrate Helen Jones. George Fitzgerald pleaded guilty to assisting in illegal landing. He was given a conditional discharge and was ordered to donate $1,000 to the Immigration Department and $1,000 to the Grand Key All-Age School. The others pleaded guilty to illegal landing and were given an absolute discharge. George also appeared before Magistrate Debbie Ferguson and was charged with possession of undersized crawfish, possession of undersized conch, and possession of stone crab and fillet fish. He pleaded guilty to all charges and was fined $3,000 on each count or 6 months at Her Majesty's prison. The charges are in connection with a matter that was reported on Saturday, August 9th in Grand Key, Abaco. A 27-year-old man arrested for causing damage to an ankle monitoring bracelet on Monday. Police say the man was ordered by the courts to be monitored by the electronic device. Police say he caused damage to the ankle bracelet, which is valued over $1,000. The man was arrested and taken into police custody, where he is expected to be charged before the magistrate's court. Stay with us. There's more news after this.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. The government of the Bahamas, through the Tariff Amendment Bill 2014, providing an extension of duty-free exemptions to East and West Grand Bahama. Tonight, the president of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce talks about what this can mean for the island. Shashina Roll reports.
As promised in its Charter for Governance, the government is moving ahead with duty-free concessions for East and West Grand Bahama. President of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Barry Malcolm, believes the government's plan can provide many benefits.
And I'm very hopeful that if properly structured, that the extension of such concessions could have a very stimulative effect on economic recovery on Grand Bahama Island as a whole. If you're going to create the conditions for businesses outside the port area to be able to import the basic capital materials they need for development of their businesses, that's a good thing. If we can reduce the cost of the entry into business by reducing the cost of the capital goods they need to produce services or goods in the economy, that's a very powerful thing for Grand Bahama.
It is also important to note that such concessions will not just benefit Grand Bahama, but this country as a whole.
It can be stimulative not just for the outlying areas of Grand Bahama Island, but it can be stimulative for Grand Bahama as a whole, and by extension, it can produce value for the country as a whole. It's very important to appreciate that while we're talking about Freeport and Grand Bahama and the unique structure of the economy down here and the unique structure of the concessions down here, whatever stimulation or growth in the economy that comes from the structures that exist in Freeport or that by extension may exist in Grand Bahama Island, the impact of those economic structures really benefit the entire country.
He adds that the duty-free concessions can be very stimulative to the economy.
Properly structured, properly managed, properly administered, it could be very stimulative for the economy of Grand Bahama as a whole.
Just 2 weeks ago, the Ministry of Grand Bahama and the Ministry of Finance met with residents of the East and West during an educational campaign to inform residents of the benefits of the newly established program. Shashina Roll, ZNS Network News.
Grand Bahama's tourism product making significant strides in many areas, from attracting new airlift to promoting our culture. Tonight, the top tourism executive on Grand Bahama is confirming that an increased number of visitors are discovering what makes Grand Bahama so grand. Joan Davis-Roll has that story.
General Manager of the Ministry of Tourism on Grand Bahama, Betty Bethel, says the island of Grand Bahama has finally come into its own by creating a new identity as a destination of choice.
They're excited about the fact that they can collect islands within one country, within the islands of the Bahamas. And we actually are on the road now very aggressively with PR missions, going into these cities where the lift is coming from, being interviewed by the local television stations, as well as blogging about what's happening in these marketplaces and what's happening here on Grand Bahama Island. So we are doing our job with getting the exposure out there and preparing the marketplace for what they can experience back here on Grand Bahama. And that also helps to create the awareness and distinguish Grand Bahama's product from the Nassau product.
Bethel says while touristically the island has fallen short of its former glory, she predicted that by the end of this year, Grand Bahama Island will welcome some 150,000 visitors to our shores. The goal now, she says, is not to relive the past, but discover a whole new future in tourism.
What we feel confident we will return to is the levels of arrivals, with a different mix of visitors who are coming here looking for the destination experience that we are offering today. Today we are a soft adventure destination. We are a destination that offers cultural and heritage experiences. So we anticipate that we want to grow to those numbers and exceed and go beyond those numbers, but to a visitor with a higher spend that are looking for the experience that we are offering today.
Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
Thank you, Joan. Tonight we introduce you to a man who is taking credit for a new type of conch salad. This West End native says people travel from near and far for what he has dubbed the pickled conch. Shashina Roll has more.
It's not the traditional conch salad, but many persons find themselves traveling to West End for the new phenomenon, pickled conch. Creator of this new delight is Malik Smith. He says 2 years ago he experimented with something different, but the response was not well received.
I just tried this, the pickled conch, and I do the pickled lobster and all.
So the first time you tested it out, what was the response like?
Everybody love it.
What did they say to you?
Ask me but the secret, but the stuff I use to do it with. So I tell them I can't, I tell them this is Kentucky.
What does that mean?
I can't give them my secret.
The taste of the pickled conch is tangy and much different from the traditional conch salad.
It's a regular conch, We beat it and we boil it. Then I make my own sauce and everything.
He says the pickled conch is often imitated, but it can never be duplicated, adding that there's only one place you can get the original pickled conch.
Pickled conch is the only one who make it. The other people use the pickled juice. I don't use no pickled juice. I use my own juice.
So other people have tried this now?
Yes. They try, but they don't even working.
Oh, wow.
So they use the pickled juice and they can't get it. They come ask me how to do it. People from Texas Island all over the place.
He's inviting you to take the drive down to West End and try it for yourself at Shebo's Conch Stand.
I'm not going to try it every day. I'll be here until 9:30 in the night.
Shashina Roll, ZNS Network News.
And I'll have me a pickled conch. Don't go away. Sports is up next with Ricardo Liborn.
Everybody, and welcome to Sports and Ricardo Live. Tonight, this one goes out to the Bahamas Customs Department. Yes, new ideas, new ways to get you through in a hurry. They're doing a fantastic job. Well, the Kenyan Knights Track Club preparing to run cross country, that is, and they're looking for a pretty good season. They want to look at conditioning and middle distance awareness. That's what they tell me. Coach Frederick Bastian is working with his athletes daily on the Ruby Golf Course with high expectations for the productive 2015 season. He had a special thank you for the management and staff of the Harcourt Investment for the use of the Ruby Golf Course to train his athletes. His focus is now on cross country, and for good reason.
Everywhere I go, the question being asked, how come it's just that on an international level that we never get past the 400 meters? What's going on with the 8? What's going on with the 15? What's going on with the 3,000? What's going on with the, with the 5,000 meters? Why is this that we're not tapping into those atmosphere?
Now, the hope is to have a cross-country event every month, developing middle-distance runners, and he knows the possibilities.
There's going to be 3 meets, one in the month of September, one in the month of October, one in the month also in November. What we're going to do it like through how middle distance atmosphere to the higher level of distance atmosphere from different age group. Whereby that at the younger age they would run like about 1.5 miles. Different age group would run, some age group would run like 2.5, but the highest of it would be like about a 3.8 or probably some in that neighborhood, probably 4 miles.
Carifta athlete Malik Smith from the Virgin Islands is also training with Coach Bastian and making the best of a good summer.
The atmosphere here is very pleasant and peaceful, It's very good for training. Sometimes it's rainy, but it just to test your mind strength and stuff like that. I started working out the day after I came here, the morning after. It's actually fun, training with other athletes and stuff, and learning new things, meeting new people, It's very different.
The Kenyan Knights' first cross-country meet is in the middle of September, and everyone is invited. Love cross country. YMCA Commercial Basketball League with limited play, folks. Last night, Palmer's Pistons in overtime defeating the Iron Hawks 66-64. Greg Monroe is playing pretty good ball. 19 points. Bowman Mullins had 15 to face those Pistons. The Hawks, Franco Miller netted a game by 25 points. Where did go? Franco man can still play. Anton Thompson had some 17 points. Now tonight, the Saturday Ballers in Showtime will start it all off at 7 o'clock. Borco and Statoil will follow. Container Port and the Warriors are going to play the feature. Weber International University basketball program is Bahamian-based and hopefully will continue to provide opportunities for our young men who are talented in basketball to get scholarships. Weber International University head basketball coach on Grand Bahama, and what an experience for the basketball players. Coach John Schaffner took time out to take the young men through drills and some informative situations on and off the court. Jay Philippe is a graduate of Weber International and coordinated a workout session, having his basketball coach on Grand Bahama.
I'm the founder of Grand Bahama Youth Basketball Association, but here in particular we have a college coach, which is my former college coach, that came down to look at the talent down in Grand Bahama. We have 2 current players from Freeport that goes to Weber University, and coach wants to expand and make it an annual scholarship where we could commit 1 player from Freeport every single year to award them the opportunity to go to college.
Marco Cooper assisted with the workout session, and Coach Schaffner is about communication and getting players to understand a system.
One of the things that I look for in players are the small things. People that talk, people that lead, people that are good people. Not only your athleticism, but or your skills. It's a total package is what we look for.
DeJohn Waggles took in the sessions and found it to be pretty rewarding.
What I've learned from the coach is that, well, a lot of coaches are different, and sometimes it's not about how good you are as a player, but it's how good you fit in a certain system and what they're looking for, and you have to be very keen in listening to what they ask for, and it can be very simple for you.
Coach Schaffner enjoyed the experience of working with the Grand Bahama basketball players, and his key word was grades. You need grades if you're going to go off to school, guys. College coaches, if you don't have it, you may as well stay home and let's go dive conch. Plenty of them out there, and lobster season is on. Get it together, guys. That's sports tonight.